Let's go. Are the defending national champions legit the only team not worse than Vanderbilt in the SEC? I can't believe I said that. My dude Mark Ryan, I've been filling in for him on Upstate. That's how he sees it. A lot of people are seeing it. And we could talk about the defense. We're going to get into it. Don't forget, we get the Tuesday night live streams at 7 and, of course, our normal post-game live streams on the channel. But today, I want to talk about the red zone offense, that final drive, those final few plays. What was LSU thinking? So that's all coming up today. Give me a subscriber, that was not smooth. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our content. LSU just needed a yard, or if you look even closer, less than a yard to get into the end zone. What happened? I'm going to turn this down. Let's go on ahead and run this play at full speed. And as you could tell, there's so much penetration in the backfield. LSU loses half a yard, which a lot of you know in an end goal situation is a big deal. So, honestly, LSU plays this right. They hurry up to the line of scrimmage with only one timeout, and they run the same play again. Ty Davis-Price did an okay job to at least get back to the line of scrimmage. Ed Orgeron is clapping. What happened? So here we are. It's 1st and goal. Terrace Marshall, after a review, gets inside the 1 yard line. And this is an idea that honestly blows my mind. I have no idea why offensive play callers and coaches around the country love to spread everyone out, and then when it gets to this critical portion of the field, they like to bring in everyone tight, because when everyone's tight, we're just going to pound it in. Old school smash mouth football. But here's the problem. I hate, and I mean hate, this offensive formation from LSU. So, LSU, who's normally pretty good at balancing a formation, overloads this side of the line of scrimmage with players while not putting any receivers out to this side. So, you're essentially shutting down half of your options that the defense has to worry about. And, of course, Eric Gilbert's at tight end right here, and that obviously makes it very difficult because he has a good red zone option, but he's in a clear run-blocking stance. But this is what doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The guy that is your star wide receiver, Terrace Marshall, is the end guy on the line of scrimmage as an extra blocker. Now, I love Terrace Marshall Jr., but if you're the Missouri defense, ask yourself this question. Are you more excited to see Terrace Marshall Jr. in any one of these deadly positions at receiver, or would you rather see him as an inline blocker? I think everyone would say the latter. So let's go on ahead and run this play at full speed here. And as you could tell from the get-go, LSU doesn't have to deal with any penetration. The problem is because Terrace Marshall is right here and his job is to cut the most innermost guy, this leaves this player unblocked. And why is this player unblocked? Oh, yes, because you tightened the formation. Notice the space between these offensive linemen, this is what it's called splits. These splits are so tight. And when you tighten your splits, this shortens the length of the edge guy to come off the edge here and make a play into the backfield. And that is exactly what happens here. Because these splits are so tight, Terrace Marshall Jr. actually does a good job of doing his job here, which is to cut the innermost guy. But because this defender is unblocked, and there's just so many players that are coming off the edge, also remember this, top of the formation here, because everybody is so tight, look, the two edge guys actually make the plays. The guys that you design on this play to be unblocked. And you're asking the two best receivers in this game to be the edge guys at the line of scrimmage. Ironically, they do their jobs well. So because LSU only has one timeout, which is a different story for a later video, you do the right thing here, which is hurry up to the line of scrimmage and try it again. But guess what? Missouri sees the exact same formation. This would be a perfect time to go play action. But because LSU was in a hurry and they wanted to hurry up and run this play, and they were probably told to hurry up and run this play again if you get stuffed, guess what? The exact same thing happens. Coaches, if for the entire game you have been killing teams by spreading them out all across the formation and using space to your advantage, why would you tighten the formation with your two best receivers as your edge blockers? And guess what? This time, there is interior penetration because they know what's coming. Austin Deculus gets beat to the inside. And it's kind of tough to see because, like I said, we don't have the end zone camera. I always say the end zone camera is the best way to evaluate offensive linemen. But they know what's happening. All Missouri knows they have to do is just get into the backfield and tackle Ty Davis-Price. Once again, Terrace Marshall gets his block, but this guy has such a tight edge to get around to help on this play. Penetration right there. And even after Terrace Marshall Jr. cuts this guy to perfection, he's still tight enough to get in and help on this play. I can even argue if Terrace Marshall is even in the slot and you bring another guy out right here, imagine if this guy was just having to guard Terrace Marshall Jr. out here. He makes that guy miss, but instead of just having to make, well, actually there's two guys there, there's just no way. It's a horrible design. And if you're LSU, you, of course, are forced to use your timeout. Now, if you had another timeout, Orgeron, you could be in an even better position. Now, I know a lot of you will take this, me being critical of LSU, but I'm critical of LSU because I want this team to win, like you guys, okay? This is an LSU, analysis channel with also all of us being fans. But we need to put these guys in premium positions to make plays. So let's go on ahead and fast forward here to the third down play. So before we move on, why would LSU tighten their formation? What was the reason? Well, it's because earlier in the game, LSU was able to punch one in from 3rd and 1, running the exact same play with the exact same player. Here's the first down run. If you remember, LSU took over from a fumble. So this is 1st and goal, the first play of this drive. And notice how the outside players don't get there as quickly because these splits are a little bit wider. Take a look. So because the split is a little bit wider, and Myles Brennan actually does a better job of carrying out this fake, this end isn't able to crash down as quickly and chase and actually tackle Ty Davis-Price before he can get some momentum. And he gets down to the 1-yard line. LSU decides to hurry up and run the actual touchdown. And as you can see here, LSU in the exact same formation that we just saw. So LSU, this is actually 3rd and 2. How did it work here from 3rd and 2 and it not work the other time? Because it's common logic, right? As a coach, we're going to do what worked for us earlier in a very similar part of the field. The reason why it worked is because Missouri wasn't lined up. And because they weren't lined up, this makes it a lot easier. And it's an easy touchdown. That's because LSU was able to go hurry up there. But because it was goal to go with the game on the line, the defense was actually set. So, as a coach, you see this work. It's confirmation bias. Well, it only worked because they weren't ready. 3rd and goal. I actually like this play call from LSU. They bring in Torrey Carter. So if you're a defense, you think for sure they're going to try and run the football again. The problem is that they know you're going to throw because you have no timeouts. And if you're stopped in the field of play, you'd have to hurry your tail up to hopefully run another play. So here we go. And obviously, you know as a defender that Terrace Marshall Jr. is probably going to get this ball. And more than likely, he's going to run an out route. And guess what? The point of this play is to rub this guy down. And they have Jontre Kirkley here, your most experienced, senior-laden wide receiver throwing to your most experienced on-the-field receiver. And look, it would have worked, but Myles Brennan has the ball batted down. This guy would not have gotten to Terrace Marshall Jr. Game over. So the play call here on 3rd down should have worked. They fake the read off here. All you have to do is avoid this guy. It's kind of hard to loft this football, though, not knowing what's back there. But should Myles Brennan have lofted this ball? Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you're actually a quarterback evaluator, let me know what you think. But ultimately, as a quarterback, if you know this is the design of the play, and in fact, it does look like Jontre kind of leaned into him, so it should have been called a pick right there. I'm surprised they didn't. They're not going to call that in crunch time. All you have to do is complete the football there, and it is a touchdown. But credit 32. They highlighted him during the game. Makes a huge play there. So let's go to the 4th down call. And on the 4th down call, they finally get Terrace Marshall Jr. in a comfortable position. Here's a problem. Obviously, it's tough to switch out personnel, especially if you don't have a timeout. Torrey Carter is still in the game. Doesn't really pose a threat as a receiver. Missouri knows this. So, this is essentially a 3-man route. And more than likely, you know that LSU is not going to run the football since they've already been stuffed twice. So, Missouri kind of knows this already. Ty Davis-Price essentially steps up here as a blocker. And what you're trying to do is get Terrace Marshall Jr. to beat this guy to the outside. Throw the football now. Throw the football now. Now! Ball should be out. Here's a problem. Because on 3rd down, the ball was batted down, Myles Brennan, like he said in the first game against Mississippi State, has a fear of throwing into a passing lane. Boom. He already created the separation. And we got to stop it right about here. Boom. Football should have been out. Football should have been out. You win the game. And here is a replay. So if you throw it right there, that's just a good play. That's just a good play. And did it even hit him in the hands? Let's see. No, that was batted down. It's just a good play. But it was predictable. I can live with that, though, on 4th down. Letting your quarterback and your best receiver decide it, I can live with that. It's just a good play. This is Gene in Y89. He says the LSU defense is beyond pathetic. Not sure what the coaches were thinking with this unit. And I think a lot of this is coaching. And obviously, you can point at losing our boy Patrick Queen, who's balling out for the Ravens. Sucks, right? But You lose Queen, Phillips, Kerry Vincent, Fulton, all these guys, but you still got to go out there and do it. Blanchez, I can't remember an LSU defense being so bad. Ivan says, just imagine, we were supposed to have won these first 3 games without much difficulty. And we could talk all we want about the lack of coaching. Well, LSU had the easiest first 3-game start. It looks as if Mississippi State's not really that good. Obviously, Vanderbilt's the worst team in the SEC. And Missouri isn't all that great. Missouri has not scored 40 points at home since the Drew Lock era. So this, well, I'll say this, 40 points versus a Power 5 team at home in the Drew Lock era. So this is crazy. This is nuts that Missouri, with a redshirt freshman quarterback who looks okay, was able to put up all those points. So it's a problem. It's power. Our LSU. We will get through it. Let's go. Let's go.